Questions to the keepers of living records. Will the European Union disintegrate? There is already a lot of disagreement between the leaders of the nations in the EU. There is also a lot of corruption in the EU Parliament. They have made many laws to oppress the people of the Union, and they have an agenda that does not serve the people. Answer: yes, you are seeing clearly. The European Union, as it exists today, is unsustainable. What was once envisioned as a union of peace and cooperation has become in many aspects a mechanism of control, dominated by unelected powers, hidden agendas, and centralized authority that no longer reflects the will or welfare of the people. Will the European Union disintegrate? Yes. In time, it will unravel. Not suddenly, and not without resistance, but the signs of its fracturing are already visible. The internal conflicts, discontent among member states, and disconnection from the needs of the people will accelerate its decline. Why will the EU collapse? Rising sovereignty movements. Nations are beginning to remember their unique identity, culture, and rights. More voices are calling to reclaim national decision-making from Brussels. As economic burdens grow and unpopular policies increase, calls to exit the Union will spread. Exposure of corruption and oppression. The corruption within the EU Parliament and Commission will become undeniable. Scandals and leaked documents will show how lobbyists, corporations, and non-elected forces have shaped laws that oppress rather than protect. People will realize that many EU regulations were not for unity, but for control, economic strain and disparity. The attempt to impose unified financial policies on diverse economies will continue to create inequality and resentment. Weaker economies will feel exploited, while stronger economies will feel burdened. Economic crisis will push nations to seek independent solutions outside of EU mandates. Failure to address real needs. The EU has prioritized agenda-driven policies over the real needs of its people. Health, security, sustainability, and freedom. Its focus on surveillance, centralized power, and global alignment will be rejected by a waking population. As the people rise, governments will be forced to listen or fall. How will it happen? It will begin with non-compliance, individual nations refusing to enforce EU laws. Then, public referendums, movements and protests will push the boundaries. Eventually, one or more nations will formally leave or break from the Union's authority, inspiring others. The EU will either dissolve or become a symbolic shell with little actual power. What comes after? New alliances will form, not of control but of true cooperation based on mutual respect and sovereignty. Regions will reconnect with local governance, natural law, and spiritual values. People will seek unity without uniformity, connection without coercion, the final words of truth. No structure built on deception, domination, and disconnection from the soul of the people can survive this time of awakening. The European Union will not endure in its current form, because the consciousness of Europe is rising, and with it, the demand for truth, transparency, and freedom. The disintegration of false unity is not a tragedy. It is the birth of authentic self-determination. We remain with you in the living light, always.